Shweta Tanwar, everybody.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. A very, very warm good morning to all of you. Thank you all for coming here. I hope you all are having a very nice vacation in Goa. So, I'll introduce myself. I'm Shweta. I am working as a senior software engineer at Rippling, which is an all-in-one platform for IT, finance, and operations, and with an aim to simplify the complex business processes. When I'm not working, I'm usually traveling. I love to trek. So if any one of you would love to do treks, please catch me. I'll be happy to talk about. I have done a lot of treks in Karnataka region because right now I'm staying in Bangalore. But yeah, that's all which I love to do. Now, coming about the topic which we are going to talk about today, the smart apps, basically machine learning in React Native. We'll talk about how the intersection of machine learning and React Native gives the birth to the beautiful smart apps. Before we dive into the deep concepts of machine learning in React Native, let's see what we have on our agenda today. We are going to talk about React Native basics. Then we are going to talk about AI machine learning in React Native. Then we'll explore TensorFlow.js, which is basically a library that allows you to use all those machine learning capabilities in our React Native project. Then we'll have a very short live demo just to see how the things work. And at the end, the basic takeaways. Now, starting with the journey with a quick refresher of React Native. Let's say you are an avid traveler who loves to explore different places, because I am, and you want to visit 2 islands. Now, if we talk about in the past, when React Native wasn't there, you have to travel to 2 islands differently. Maybe take a seaplane to one island named iOS, and a different plane for a different island named Android. Now, coming in 2015, Facebook launched React Native, which created a magical bridge that allows you to visit both of the islands just at once. Yes, writing a code in JavaScript in React Native allows you to make your application work on both the platforms, on Android and iOS, all at once. This is the cross-platform development which Facebook introduced. Then we have the native components. Although the JavaScript, the React Native has basically mapped all of your components to the respective counterparts in Android and iOS, but still, if you want, you can create your native components in it, and which will give you exactly the same look and feel which you'll get while developing the native apps. Then the major, very attractive thing is it is backed by a very large community of V developers. You all are here because you are part of that community. You don't have to get stuck in anywhere, because all you know that you just need to go and just post an issue, talk about it in a discussion forum, and you're very much sure that you are going to get a result, a solution for it in a very short span of time. And the very, very major thing, that is the fast development, the hot reloading, which the native developers have always felt that it actually takes a lot of time to see those changes. Because in web, everything works with just a reload. And the same functionality we have in React Native. Just do a hot reload, and you can see the changes just at once. Now, AI and machine learning. Let's talk about it separately from React Native, what exactly they are. Now, we'll be covering the basic key concepts which comes under the AI and machine learning. The first is AI, which helps making machines smart. Now, we'll talk about it taking an analogy. Let's say we have got a very beautiful robot puppy at our home. A robot puppy. It's cute, it's shiny, but it doesn't do anything yet. It's packed in a box. Let's give that puppy a brain, that robot puppy a brain. Now that is AI. You are giving that puppy the chance. He can bark. He can even play chess if you want. Now, all of this thing is possible because of ML, that is machine learning. You give commands, you give data to your model, to your dog, basically over here in analogy, that what he needs to do. When he needs to bark, you give him the command that when I say bark, go bark. When I say fetch, go and fetch. These are the commands which we train our puppy to do. Now, all of these things we are doing by giving that particular puppy the data. The data, that is the commands. So the data is basically the basic building block which helps the ML, the machine learning model, to learn and adapt to whatever we want to. Now the dog, we have to tell him that whenever we are telling fetch, you have to go and fetch that particular object. Whenever we are going to tell that particular puppy, sit, you have to sit. These are the datas. Now, the data can be in form of anything. It could be text, it could be images, it could be numbers, or whatever you can think of. Data is what you feed into it, the fuel for learning. Now we have the neural networks. We have given it data. Now you have to process the data as well. That when we are saying fetch that ball, it needs to understand that fetch, you have to go and collect, and the ball, he has to find the ball. So he has to create all those neural networks to understand the commands and how to execute it. That is where neural network comes. And at the end, inference. Let's say you're coming home after a long day at office where you had a lot of negotiations and a lot of heated arguments with your boss. You are quite sad. Now, once you come home, what do you want? You'll expect your puppy to realize, oh, you're sad, and come to home and be and pet you, just come and sit on your lap. So that is what inference is. From the learning model, from all the data which that puppy understood, he'll create the neural network that now I can see the emotions on my owner's face, and yes, he's sad. I need to go, I need to pet him. That is what inference is, making predictions based on the data which we have fed him. So, machine learning. It is easier than you think. And this is not a statement, it is a fact. It is not an encouragement, it is, again, a fact. It does seem it's scary, it does seem that although you care, you can use it, but when it comes to implementation, a lot of us, including me, was quite scared that how exactly I'm going to make things work because I know nothing. I just know how to use ChatGPT, but how do I make it work in my application? But trust me, it is easy than what you're thinking. Today, we are standing at a unique standpoint in the history where a lot of things are made easier. If we talk about in past, integrating these machine learning models was actually a very daunting task. And you have to actually go to the experts who are very pioneer in their fields to make things work. But now it's not like that. If you know React Native, if you know JavaScript, if you know how to read the documentations, voila, you can actually integrate all the models into your React Native application. Now, where exactly React Native comes into picture when we talk about AI? So I am a fan of peanut butter and chocolate. And similar to that, React Native and AI fit with each other. They are just like peanut butter and chocolate, which exactly fits together. They're individually absolutely awesome, but when you combine them together, they make a delicious combination. Now, we'll talk about the key points of it. So, cross-platform AI features. Now, let's say you are a superhero developer. I'm sure all of you might be crazy fans of either Marvel Universe or DC. So, let's say you're going to create a superhero. Here comes React Native. It gives you the power to create a superhero who is going to work or who is going to build the applications which is going to work on both the platforms. Now introduce AI on top of that. So apart from just running on both the platforms, we are adding multiple capabilities into it, like predictions, like detections. And that is how they fit together each other, where they're going to solve complex problems together on both the platforms. Then the hot reloading, which we talk about, that actually helps and enables us to rapidly prototype the AI-powered models, the machine learning models, and see it. So let's say I have one model which I want to test. I'll just load it, reload it, and it will work. Now, I don't want this model. I feel that, nah, let's try a different model. All you need to do is just change the model, and you can get it work. This is how fast it is. You're actually sitting in a tech lab where everything you know, everything you need is in handy, and you can make it work just with a hot reload. Still, if you think that I need to utilize the native capabilities of mobile, now you can do that as well, because React Native allows you to use the native modules. You can utilize the native capabilities of individual iOS and Android and make them work. And the last, the growing ecosystem of the libraries. Since React Native is backed by this huge ecosystem, by huge developers, similar to that, there are a lot of developers of us who are actually working on AI smart apps and getting things work. So you don't have to reinvent anything new. You can take the help. You can just work on the shoulders of already developed applications, already developed models, and create your unique, different ideas on top of it. But why actually do we need machine learning in React Native? Because we already have the native mobile applications, which we can get it up and running. We have our web applications, which are already up and running with the various different machine models. But why do we need in React Native? First of all, mobile is something which is right now with everyone, be it like the small to small, even like the kids are having the mobile devices, and to whatever the person you can think of, today everyone is like having a mobile device in your hand. I'm sure everyone sitting of you over here do have it, and we're using it on a very, very large scale. Now, when we are using a mobile application, adding machine learning helps us to give us an enhanced user experience. Let's say I'm using the application, I'm using Amazon, and although it's not over there, but yeah, I am searching for a particular product. But let's say if I see my past history, I have been looking at particular product very often, like a particular jeans. Now, I would prefer that it gives me a personalized experience that you have been following or like looking out for jeans. Let's show you more of them. That is, you give a personalized experience. Then we have improved decision making based on our choices. All of you might be using Spotify or something like that. Now, based on the songs which you have been listening to, that is how Spotify detects, okay, that these are the song types which you have been listening to. Let's give you the more suggestions based on that regarding that. And last, it gives you competitive advantage. Everyone, it's not just that we need to integrate ML into mobile app just for the sake of it, but no, to make it more enhanced, to ease the life of the users, our customer base. That's why we want to integrate the machine learning into our mobile application. Now, let's see a few of the use cases which you all might have seen in your mobile applications. First is the image recognition. You all have used Google Lens. Now, if I like the plant, I want to see what plant is it. I'll just open my Google Lens app and just see what exactly the name of the plant is. Or I want to see the breed of a dog. Which breed dog is it? I can just open it and just see, oh, this is this dog. That is what image recognition is there in our mobile application these days. Then we have natural language processing. Hey Siri, please book a calendar time for me. Hey Siri, or hey Google Assistant, what is the weather today? The natural language processing, these models where like we are giving the commands and they are actually processing what exactly do we want and they use it. Next, predictive analytics. We, the people in India, we are used to use Hinglish. Not exactly English, not exactly Hindi. We write, what is happening? Tu bata. These words. So predictive analytics is when you write and your keyword actually shows you the next word which you're going to use. Like as soon as you write B-A-T, it's not going to just make it bad, but rather, since it has seen your history of text, it will show you batao, bata, whatever like you have been used to it. That is predictive analytics. And the last, recommendation systems. Ever wondered how Netflix gives you the right suggestions of movies every time? Whenever you open it, oh, I'm a rom-com fan. It shows me all the movies of rom-com. Watch this, watch that. Or you have been watching documentaries, it's going to show you, why not watch this documentary? Or why not watch this? So that is the power of recommendations into our mobile applications. Then we are going to see what are these are like the very few tools which I'm like going to talk about. But we have a lot of tools which we can use in React Native. TensorFlow.js, this is what we are going to cover in this talk of ours. This is a very famous JavaScript library, which is used for training and deploying the machine learning models into our React Native. Then we have MLKit. So this is a mobile SDK that brings the Google's machine learning capabilities to Android and iOS apps. Then we have the Fritz AI. This is basically used for compute visioning. And at last, the native modules. Actually creating the native modules in Android and iOS, adding the machine learning capabilities on top of it, and then integrating with the React Native application. Now we'll see how we can implement machine learning irrespective of any of the platform which we want. These are the very generic steps which you can follow and use it. The very first is you have to choose your ML model. That is, you need to see what do you want to do? Do you want to do an image detection or you want to do natural language processing? Whatever you want to do, that is, you have to first decide what exactly I'm going to working on. Then you have to prepare your data. Now you have chosen your model. You have, let's say, chosen a natural language processing model. You have to prepare the data because you have to make it learn. You are going to prepare a data, format it based on like what exactly you are going to prefer to. Now, once you've prepared your data, you need to feed that data into your model. Remember the analogy of the dog which we talked about, the robot puppy. You have created the data, you have created the commands. Now you have to train that particular robot to follow those commands and perform the actions according to it. Now, once that training is done, we have to convert the model. Why this conversion is required? Because not every model is compatible with every of the platform. Since we're talking about mobile, we have to convert our model into the mobile, basically to make it work with React Native. And once that is integrated with React Native, just test and optimize it based on the feedback loops which you'll be giving it. Now we are going to talk about TensorFlow. So, as I said, it's an open source library which was created by Google Brain team, and it was developed by Google Brain team. The major important thing is it supports multiple languages framework. When it was released just for the internal purpose of the team, but later on, due to its flexibility and adaptability of multiple programming languages, initially, although it was created just for the Python, then seeing that it can be used in multiple languages, it was made open source. Now, it can be used for both research and development. It's not just limited that you can just do develop. Even in the research departments, it can be used. So whether you're working on computer vision, natural language processing, reinforcement learning, or any other machine learning task, TensorFlow has got you covered. Now, we'll cover the core concepts which you require in order to work with TensorFlow. We have tensors. So tensors, the name TensorFlow also itself comes from this particular concept. So tensors are basically the multi-dimensional arrays that form the basic unit of the data in the TensorFlow. They can be scalars, like numbers. They can be vectors, 1D array, matrices, 2D arrays, and even can scale up to higher dimensions. Then we have graphs. So these are the computations which we use in our models, which we call as a graph. These are the network of nodes, where each node represents an operation, and the edges between the nodes, these are the flow of the tensors. And the last, we have session. It is the environment in which the operation executes on. So this is the architecture we talk about. We have input data with us. We pre-process it, that is, we make it formatted or according to our needs and requirement. Then we have model architecture. This is where we define the structure of a neural network. It's like designing a building. You decide that how many layers or how many levels you want, and how they are going to be connected, or where exactly the neurons are going to live. So this is the model architecture. Then we train it, evaluate it. Evaluation is basically your final examination, the D-Day. Based on that, we provide feedback. Then again, that loops works. And at the end, it's a prediction. You make it live. And based on the feedback, you update your model that based on these commands, I feel we should optimize or we should tweak our model. So this is how the TensorFlow architecture works. Now we have TensorFlow.js, which is basically our ticket to enter into the machine learning, bringing the machine learning capabilities into React Native. So this is like a bridge connecting your machine learning with the flexibility and ubiquity of JavaScript. It can run in like your browser or the Node.js. It supports pre-trained models. And yes, we have a lot of pre-trained models which are ready to use. Just call them, import them, and you can just actually utilize its capabilities. And yes, this is optimized for mobile devices. These are few of the pre-trained models which we have in handy, like MobileNet, if you want to do image classification, object detection, image segmentation, and for natural language processing. For the sake of our demo today, we'll be using the Coco SSD, which is the object detection. So now I'll show you a small demo. Okay. So here, if you can see, as I'm moving my camera, it is plotting and detecting my item. What exactly is it, and what percentage does my model feel this particular product is? So it's a bottle. It showed me the chair, my laptop, and my keyboard. And then, yes, the TV. So this is being done with the use of COCO SSD, which is the object detection model, which we are using in our project. So let's see what was happening behind the scenes. So this is the setup. So we imported TensorFlow, this React Native library, and the COCO SSD, the pre-trained model which I was talking about, which helps in object detection. So if you see in the use effect, what we have done is we are loading that model because we need to load it first. Now, once it is ready, only then we are going to perform our processing. So it's load the COCO SSD model during that .load function. And once this use effect runs, when the component mounts, preparing a TensorFlow environment for object detection. Then we have the object detection loop. Because the camera, when you open it, it constantly sends you different frames back to back, back to back. It's a constant stream. Now, this handle camera stream, it is a callback function, which is given by the Expo camera. Now, once this is there, we get the stream of images. Now, in the first line, what we are doing is we are taking the next value of the image. The loop function is basically defined as camera stream function. It runs continuously to process each frame from my camera. Next, it checks whether my next image tensor or like my model is available or not. If it's not, just return it. Then we have taken the frame count for the sake of my demo purpose to keep track of how many frames we have processed. Then we have taken this frame skip because I don't want to process every frame which is coming because it's going to be a lot of processing. I have added a throttle over here. So this is how the object detection is working. Now, as I said, that we have integrated COCO SSD model. So when you integrate that COCO SSD model, so this is the detection response, the prediction received from the COCO SD. If you just see, it is giving me three things. The B box, which is like the array of my position of that particular item which it has detected. My class, which is a laptop. So when you saw that demo, there was a laptop. It is showing me that on these coordinates, X, Y, Z, I mean the top left, all the 4 coordinates it has given me, and it's a laptop. And the score is basically the probability which it feels this particular thing is. It might, 2 objects might look similar. So this model detects that I feel this model is this percentage of this model, this name. So this is the object, the prediction received. This is the source code, the QR code, if you want to just go and see how exactly it is working. Yeah. Now we'll just go through the best practices and performance optimization. So after integrating this ML model, I realized that yes, integration is simple, but there are a lot of caveats when it comes to integrating it. We have to take care of the performance optimizations when using it. So first thing is, you have to calculate the trade-off between the model size and accuracy, because the mobile devices have limited resources, and optimization is very, very crucial. So we have smaller models which run faster, but they may not be accurate. So you have to see what exactly are you looking out for. Then use techniques like quantizations to reduce the size of the model, but without impacting the accuracy of it. Then we can actually leverage the hardware acceleration, such as WebGL, so as to speed up the computations. Next, you have to consider whether you want on-device processing versus cloud processing. So the on-device processing helps you that it can work locally. It doesn't need like network connections and all. But you have to figure out if it's like a very complicated calculations which you have to do, why not keep it on cloud? Make sure to add the data privacy and security, because that is the must thing. You cannot just expose the data and make it leak. You have to make sure it is secure and private. Then you actually have to continuously update your models. With the rapidly changing environment, they need to be updated with whatever changes are happening. And at the last, make sure to use web workers so as to make it non-blocking. You don't want to block your main thread while these computations are happening. Now, let's hop into a time machine and take a peek into the future of smart apps. Let's imagine a world where rather than just saying, hey Siri, you can actually just talk to it just like a human. Or your phone just doesn't respond to your touch. It understands your emotions, that's how you're feeling. If you're feeling stressed, it might open your wellness app. If you're feeling happy, it might play a very peppy song to make so that you can actually feel more happy. So that is what I feel the future is going to be. And if I just compare, we have actually come very far. There were actually, in the past, there were apps which are not doing much, basic applications. And if you see, right now, a lot of competition, a lot of AI has added into those applications. We have emerged so much, and we have still a lot to go in the field of AI and machine learning. So talking about and concluding our talk, what did we learn? So ML plus React Native, it's a very powerful combination to be added into the mobile app. Always remember you can start small, and then you can scale gradually. Make sure to optimize it for mobile because we have very few resources when it comes to mobile. Balance the performance and accuracy. You need to be updated within ML and the React Native trends, whichever is coming. And the next steps, explore ML libraries yourself. Explore them, experiment them, and make sure to engage with the community. So yeah, thank you all for your attention, and I hope you like it.
Woo!